Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka The Laptop Legend, and in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about something a little bit different from what I normally discuss on this channel. This video is not about stocks. This video is about how I was able to cash out $20,000 just from my credit card. And that is not an exaggeration. This is $20,000 in cold hard cash just because I know how to use my credit cards correctly. And if you guys don't know how to use credit cards correctly, if you don't understand the significance, the importance of them, how they can affect your future, how you're probably missing money, then stay tuned because in this video, I'm gonna explain all of those things and talk about exactly how you can start earning more money on your credit cards. And probably most of you guys won't ever hit that $20,000 cash out in one transaction mark just because it's kind of a lot of money, it really is. But I can definitely help you guys increase that amount so maybe it goes from a couple dollars to hundreds of dollars or from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys. Please remember to smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you have not already and turn on the post notifications because I am bringing that fire, baby. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is that there's a lot of misconceptions about credit cards. A lot of people are trained by their parents to use them in the wrong way. And in my opinion, there's three main schools of thought. The first one is, and this is the worst one, I guess if we're talking in levels, this would be level one, the absolute worst level of thought, and you do not want to think this way. These people think that credit cards are free money and that anything you put on a credit card, swipe, 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 it's basically free. So if you have a $10,000 credit limit, ooh, that's $10,000 I can use to go buy whatever I want. This is a really, really dangerous thought cycle because credit cards have a ridiculously high interest rate. And if you put as much as you can on your credit cards, which is called maxing them out, when you don't have the money to pay for that, you're gonna get trapped in a cycle of debt where you're unable to pay them off because the interest rate is so high that you only have enough money to pay the interest, not even the original balance of the card. So never spend more on a credit card than you have in your bank account. Always treat it like it's a debit card in that regard. And you'll never have an issue with credit cards. The second school of thought is where you're terrified of credit cards. Your parents might have told you credit cards are a terrible thing. You need to avoid debt at all costs. You're gonna get yourself in big, big trouble. And while this is better than the first school of thought because you're going to avoid getting yourself into debt, you're gonna avoid having those issues where you get stuck paying ridiculous interest rates, what you're not going to be able to take advantage of is the cashback, I guess all these other benefits from the credit cards, and you're gonna be missing out on that because of your fear that was instilled in you from a young age. So this is also not a way of thinking that you want to perpetuate if you can avoid it. Because you wanna think in the third school of thought, which is, I know the danger of credit cards. I'm aware of everything that could go wrong if I use them incorrectly. But I also know that they're not scary if I use them correctly because there's a ton of benefits that I can get out of them and use them to my advantage. And that's how I want to teach you guys to think. Because if you can think that way, then you can be at least on the path towards cashing out $20,000 just from cashback on your credit card. So now that that's out of the way, I want to explain how I was able to get so much money in cashback on my credit cards. And the way I did it was I put a lot of money on my credit cards and then I paid it off. And the typical person really doesn't have enough expenses that they can put on a credit card to get any type of significant point earnings, if that makes sense. Depending on what credit cards you have, you're gonna get different percentages of cash back. And you wanna look for the highest percentages that you can get and figure out how you can spend as much as possible in those transactions without spending more than you would spend normally, if that makes sense. So that might be a little confusing at first, but let me just elaborate a little bit about what I mean when I'm saying all that. So the transactions that you want to look for, again, are those highest percentages. So a lot of credit cards, it might be, say, restaurants, you might get 3%, or you might get 3% back on gas, or you might get 5% back on airline travel, etc. This is not going to ever earn you millions of points, which equals tens of thousands of dollars. It's just not going to happen because you cannot spend money on those things to bring you back money. And maybe I'm missing something, maybe you guys have some business model that I've never thought of, but the way that I was able to earn so many points is because I figured out a way where I can spend money to bring money back in. And if I spend that money on my credit card and then bring that money back in, then I can spend more on the credit card and bring more back in. It's like the more you spend, the more you make. And I guess the explanation for how I did that is by starting a business. This does not have to be the business that I started. There are a ton of different businesses that you can start. But what I personally did is Shopify dropshipping. And it's probably gotten a bad rep in recent times, so definitely do your own research. But basically the concept is you spend money on ads, you send people to a website, they buy from you, and then you buy from the supplier and ship from the supplier directly to your customer. So in that business model, you spend a ton of money on advertising. And at one point, I was spending over $10,000 a day on my credit card just on advertisements. That's not including the cost of goods sold. That's not including employee costs. That's not including anything else. That's literally just advertisements. And if you get the right credit cards and you know what credit cards to put these expenses on, you can get the maximum amount of rewards possible. So I'm gonna put some recommendations. Definitely use the links that I'm putting down below. But I was able to find a card, the Amex Business Gold Card. And this card gets 4% cash back on the first $150,000 ad spend per year, which means that if you're spending $10,000 a day on ads, technically speaking, you're getting $400 a day just in cash back, which is insane. Because if you can run a business break even spending $10,000 a day on ads, you're still earning $400 a day from cash back. But then it gets even better. Because when you have a card like this, and this is the card that I recommend getting, the American Express Schwab Platinum card, this allows you to transfer points at a 1 to 1.25 ratio to cash them out into a Schwab account. Which means that if you have $100 of cash back in Amex, you transfer this out and it becomes $125 in Schwab. Which might not sound like it's a big deal, but once you get to $10,000, that's an extra $2,500 that you get because of that. So my biggest advice for you guys would be to find some type of business model where you're able to spend a lot of money on credit cards just to run the business. Because again, I am not advising you guys to spend more money than you're earning, spend more money than it makes sense. If you spend extra money just to earn points, that doesn't make sense because you get 4% cash back. You're getting back 4% of whatever extra you spend. So if you spend extra, you're losing 96%. But if you're going to spend that money anyway, and you can get 4% back for it, that's when it starts to really add up. And there's other things that you can do. Obviously, if you're not spending money on ads, that is personally my favorite way to do it because you get the highest percentage cash back. But I mean, there's other credit cards where you can get 1.5% on everything, 2% on everything. And I like to use that for cost of goods sold. So say you run, a plumbing business and you have to buy a lot of hardware, stuff like that. Put all of that onto a credit card when you're buying it and then pay it off. And now you've just earned 1.5% on all of that. So if you have to spend $10,000 on a project, you just earned an extra $150, which is pretty cool. And that really adds up when you can scale up a business. And that is why I like e-commerce so much, because e-commerce is so incredibly scalable. And you can spend $10,000 a day on ads just as easily as you can spend $100 a day on ads. There's really no difference. You type 2 extra zeros and you're there. And the earnings amount that you get from your cash back goes through the roof exponentially. So because of that, I think e-commerce is a really, really cool model. If you want to get into e-commerce, definitely check out some of those videos that I uploaded earlier on this channel back before I started doing stocks like daily, because a lot of that stuff I talk about products that I sold over $100,000 worth of. And if you want to know how to get into e-commerce, it's definitely going to be helpful for you. Also, feel free to check out my e-commerce academy in the description below. Has a lot of very in-depth information on how I set up stores, how I run stores, pretty much how I do everything in the process. So if you feel overwhelmed with it, that's a decent place to start so you have more direction. Now I want to take you guys into my computer and just show you exactly how I was able to use this card to cash out $20,000 worth of cash back to my Schwab account. So let's go do that. All right, guys, so I'm here at my computer, and this right here is my credit score back when I was applying for this card, and you can see over an 800, pretty darn good. And this is because I do my absolute best to put every single expense that I have onto a credit card, and then I pay it off as soon as possible. And I make sure that I'm on top of every single aspect of the credit card. So you can see here the credit card use, I keep that 0%. Derogatory marks, none. I always pay everything on time, payment history 100%, etc. And if you do that over time, your credit card score is just, your credit score is just gonna keep going up. And that's gonna allow you to get better credit cards that give you better deals. And it's honestly, it's great. It's the move. So make sure you keep working on that, because most of you guys underestimate how important it is to have your credit score be high, because it's important in so many different things. Here you can see, this is how many Amex points, this is within my Amex account, this is how many points that I had before I cashed out. So I had 1.67 million Amex points. You can see here, that's a $122,000 payment. And that's just an example of, you know, the types of payments that it takes to get points like this. So if you're spending a lot on your cards, you're gonna have to make a lot of big payments. And again, if you spend a lot and pay it all off, that is how you are able to get points like this. So here I have a screen recording of me cashing it out. So once you have this card, once it's on your account, you can see the Amex Platinum Schwab card up there. You want to go to Invest with Rewards. Again, it's a simple redemption process. It starts at 1,000 points. So you can redeem even if you only have 1,000 points, and it's pretty straightforward, man. So you got to put in your card info. You have to select the specific Schwab account that you're transferring to. But once you get to that point, you're gonna see a screen that looks like this, and you have a drop-down menu, and you can choose as many points as you want, just based on what it is. So in this case, I ended up going and choosing 6, I believe, of the bottom one. Yeah, so I go choose 6, which is $18,750. And then I choose this one, which is $1,250. Again, that is 1.6 million points that I'm cashing out, which is $20,000, which is incredible, man. And I'm so grateful that I was able to have an opportunity like this. And you can see, this is just the process, yada, yada. Hit redeem now. And boom. There it is. So now at this point, I go back, you have to wait a couple of days, and then you can see in your Schwab account, it instantly gets in there. And I mean, by instantly, I mean it takes a couple of days, but once that waiting period is over, it just pops in there, and boom, you just cashed out your points, and now it's available. And then from there, literally all you do is you go to transfers and payments, online transfers, transfer out of this brokerage, and transfer it to my bank account. And at that point, you know, cash deposit in my account, and it's that simple. Now it's in my bank account, and I effectively got 1.6 million credit card points and turned it into $20,000. And obviously you can use those dollars for anything you want. If you have a Schwab investing account, you can just leave it in there and use it as a brokerage account. You know, just use it for trading stocks. That's fine. Or you can take it out and put it in something else. It's completely up to you guys. But the beauty of this is that it gives you the ability to maximize the amount of rewards that you get for spending that you're doing anyway. And again, the way that you want to do it is maximize the amount of spending that you can do anyways by starting some type of business. And that is why I love e-commerce. But again, it could be anything, man. If you're mowing lawns, maybe you have to buy lawnmowers, or maybe you have to pay for fertilizer or something like that. Put all of that on a credit card and then pay it off. Make sure it's the right credit card, and you're gonna get the best cash back possible. So again, check out the links in the description below, because I'll put my favorite credit cards down there. I think they're referral links. Some of them might be referral links, some might not have referral links. If they are referral links, I'll get something, you'll get something. If not, it's just me making your life easier. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So make sure you focus on credit cards, because they are super important. It's just another aspect of this digital world, and making sure that you're gonna be able to be in the best financial situation possible wherever you are in the course of your life. So hopefully this video is helpful. If you found it helpful and you made it this far, please smash that like button. God, I gotta think of something better to say before I get to the end. I'll do it next time, I promise. I'll have something interesting for you guys. And yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.